Hello all, and welcome to a late night beer review. I think this is one of the latest reviews that I've ever done ever since I've moved to a sort of daytime schedule back in 2017. It's almost 10 o'clock. Why so late? Well, I'm going to dub this review the Cubano sandwich review because I had a Cuban sandwich at this restaurant that opened a few months ago in Kailua called Mojitos, Cafe Mojitos, and yeah, pretty good. Pretty good. Cuban food. I had Cuban sandwich, of course, because I love Cuban sandwiches. They are vanishingly rare here in Hawaii. Um, any sort of Caribbean food, South American food is actually pretty rare here in Hawaii outside of Puerto Rican cuisine because Puerto Ricans came here back in the 1900s. So we have pateles. Pateles are part of the local, you know, the local cuisine. They've become part of the local cuisine, and we've done our own takes on it actually because we don't have the exact same ingredients as Puerto Rico does. But I'm kind of rambling. What am I reviewing this late night? Well, I noticed that I have quite a bit of a gap, in regards to Ayinger beers on my review thing. I could have swore I did like the Urweisse, but apparently I didn't. Looking through my reviews, I never did it. I'm not reviewing that tonight. I'm reviewing the Altbairisch Dunkel. This is, of course, a Dunkelweizen, which is a dark lager. The most famous example and most readily obtainable example of which does not come from Germany. It comes from Mexico. It is Negro Modelo, which is a personal favorite of mine when I'm at a Mexican restaurant. Because when I'm at a Mexican restaurant, my two favorite Mexican beers, Bohemia and Negro Modelo. So, this is 5.0 ABV. And let's read the back, shall we? Deep and malty, a great food pairing. Ayinger, at the foot of the Bavarian Alps, is one of the world's most respected breweries, family owned and operated since 1878. And for some reason, it says L 2017 on here. I hope this has not been on the shelf since 2017. Um, we shall soon find out. If it pours out chunky, got ourselves a shelf turd. Doesn't smell off. Whoa, kind of went a little bit overboard there. Okay, yeah, just stopped right at the limit. So, a little bit lighter than Negro Modelo. I'd say a nice ruby color. It is translucent. You can see light through it. Doesn't quite show up on camera. So, light does pass through it. And sort of a ruby brown yellow color, honestly, with an off-white to beige head. Frothy. Hmm. This, I often say brown bread. I can be much more specific. This smells like rye bread, which is odd because obviously no rye was used in brewing this. When you do brew with rye, you get something that does not have the characteristics of rye bread at all. You get something that's very citrusy and peppery. But this is more than brown bread, it is rye bread. Ghost of slightly floral herbal hops, but definitely like toasted brown bread. Toasted rye bread, really. I have rye bread in the refrigerator. I could go and put this in the toaster, turn it on, and it would smell like this. That said, there's not much else there. Maybe some hints of dark fruit. Let's go now to the palate, shall we? Yeah, I can tell it's a little bit old. It's not 2017 old though, because like I said, a beer from 2017 would pour out chunky. Why they have 2017 on the bottle, I don't know. Why do I say it's old? Just because hopping is really minimal, and this style is pretty minimal in hopping, but um, yeah, you really only get a sense of that in the finish, and you also kind of get like a metallic kind of taste I associate with beers that are poorly made, which I know this isn't, or beers that have been sitting for a while. So yeah, this one's probably been a shelf turd for a bit over at Whole Foods. You know, it's kind of a place where they got a high turnover, but the high turnover is spotty. That said, we still get a lot of that fine maltiness up front and in the mids. And most of all, it's a very unique thing. I'm not sure if I mentioned. I digressed. It's a dark beer, but it has a refreshing feeling. You feel refreshed when you drink it. So up front, brown bread. While the nose is very much distinctly rye bread, on the palate, it's just brown bread in general. Nuttiness, pour the rest of it out. And overall, yeah, I think that this fresh would be a truly sublime beer. It's just that sort of metallic age note there, that you get from a lighter bodied beer that's been sitting for a while, kind of really shows up. And as it warms up, it's showing up a bit more in the nose as well. Yeah, but up front, just delightful maltiness. Maltiness is gaining dimension, if not complexity, as it warms up. I think, yeah, yeah, as it warms up, it's getting a bit more sublime. And that flaw is being covered up a bit more. I'm just kind of thankful that enough of the hops has survived that you still get a nice bitter finish that is more or less clean. There's some remaining there, but it's more or less clean. I'm really enjoying this actually, even though it's not at its ideal. Why? Because I like lighter sessionable beers, especially lighter sessionable beers that use dark malts. They're as hard to find as hen's teeth. I should I should say dark lagers, because I mean it's pretty easy to go and find a lot of dry Irish stouts that are pretty light in body. Though I wouldn't say they're light in flavor, that's for sure. Yeah, Ayinger Altbairisch Dunkel. This particular bottle, I think, is a bit past its prime, but even so, it's still demonstrating what a delightful malt show it is. Just, yeah, as it's warming up, yeah, it's starting to develop a nice grainy top note as well as it's warming up. Let me go and see that again. Yeah. So yeah, I think this is one that definitely should be tried. I think pretty much anything from this particular brewery or any of the really classic German breweries deserves visiting. And yeah, so give it a shot. I'd like to end this with a slightly unrelated note. Please support local businesses, restaurants, breweries, what have you. It's obvious that a lot of them are struggling to get a lot of, customers. So instead of buying from a megalo corporation, try to keep the money within your own community, whether that community be in Hawaii or in Japan or in Canada or what have you. And that, folks, is your beer review for this late evening. Cheers.